You can't really call yourself an anime fan or an otaku if you haven't watched One Piece because it's a classic. It's based on the highest selling manga of all time, which means it should be high up on your list, and if you haven't seen the anime yet or are planning on watching the new Netflix series, you should at least know what it's all about. One Piece chronicles the story of a young guy called Monkey D. Luffy, who forms a pirate crew in an effort to find the fabled One Piece treasure and become the next pirate king. The notorious yet world-famous former pirate king, Gold Roger, had left this treasure behind. One Piece's tale is broken up into major sagas, each of which has its own sub-sagas, and each sub-sagas includes a collection of arcs. In this video, I'm recapping the first and introductory saga, which is titled East Blue Saga, because duh, the events all unfold in the East Blue Sea, and it covers the Romance Dawn arc, the Orange Town arc, the Syrup Village arc, the Barati arc, the Arlong arc, the Buggy's Crew, After the Battle arc, the Logtown arc, and the Warship Island arc. That's a whole lot. Let's get into it then. The story begins with the execution of Gold Roger, whose last words are that his treasure, the fabled One Piece, is up for the taking, but anyone looking for it will have to go there to find it. This instigates a new age of piracy as many a pirate crew sets out to the Grand Line in search of this treasure. 12 years later, a spunky 7-year-old Monkey D. Luffy is seen hanging at a bar with his idol, a pirate named Red-Haired Shanks, whose crew is using Luffy's hometown, Windmill Village, as its base of operations. Luffy wishes to go along with Shanks on one of his voyages, but Shanks refuses. One day, some mountain bandits, led by a brute named Higuma, try to order some drinks, but are told that the pirates drank it all. Shanks offers the last bottle of rum, but Higuma insults him and departs. Luffy isn't cool with this, but when Shanks grabs his arm, it stretches. We learn that Luffy had eaten a mystical devil fruit called the Gum Gum fruit by mistake. It imbues the consumer power, in this case a stretchy rubber body, but it also takes away their ability to swim. Oops. The next day, while Shanks and his crew are away, Luffy is talking with Makino in the bar when Higuma comes back and starts insulting Shanks in front of Luffy. Luffy yells at him to take it back and Higuma attacks him. Makino gets the mayor, Whoop Slap, to try to call Higuma off, but the bandits refuse and prepare to kill Luffy. Shanks and his crew show up in the nick of time to stop them. Higuma flees to the ocean with Luffy and throws him in the water to drown him. However, the resident sea king of the area, a giant eel known as the Lord of the Coast, sneaks up on Higuma and devours him in one bite before going after Luffy, who is saved by Shanks, who loses an arm in the ordeal. Before the red hair pirates leave town for good, Luffy talks to Shanks one last time and declares he'll do better than Shanks' crew and become the Pirate King. Shanks gives Luffy his prized straw hat and states that when they meet again and Luffy has become a great pirate, he can give it back to him. With that, the red hair pirates sail off. 10 years pass, and Luffy, who's 17 now, prepares to set off on his own. He wishes his friends on the island goodbye and sails off, confronting the Lord of the Coast again. This time, Luffy knocks it out with one stretched punch and proclaims once more that he'll be king of the pirates. However, he gets himself caught in a whirlpool and jumps into the barrel on his rowboat to save himself. He's picked up by a passing pirate ship and bursts out when the pirates try to open it. After a fight, he meets the cabin boy, Kobe. Kobe reveals he was just a simple fisherman who, one day, got on a pirate's rowboat by mistake and offered to be a cabin boy to prevent his murder. He wishes to become a marine, but is too cowardly to escape Alvida, their captain, who is a very fat and ugly female pirate. The two are then confronted by Alvida, who tries to kowtow Kobe into praising her, who insults her instead, prompting her to attack. Luffy defends Kobe and knocks Alvida out before forcing her crew to give him a boat so he and Kobe can leave. The two sail to an island called Shell Town, which has a marine base at which Kobe hopes to enlist. As they head there, they notice the townspeople get jumpy when mention is made of either a prisoner named Roronoa Zoro, an infamous pirate bounty hunter, or the marine captain in charge of the base, Axe Hand Morgan. They see Zoro tied to a post. A girl named Rika goes over the wall to feed him some rice balls, but he refuses. Morgan's son, Helmeppo, takes the balls but insults Rika's poor cooking and has a Marine throw her out of the compound. Luffy catches her before she hits the ground and tries to convince Zoro to join his crew. But Zoro refuses and asks Luffy to feed him the now dirtied rice balls and to tell Rika they were delicious. Rika explains that Helmeppo's pet wolf was scaring everyone in town and tried to attack her, but Zoro killed it to save her and allowed himself to be locked up for it under the condition that if he survives without food for a month, he'll be released. Helmeppo brags that his father will put Zoro to death in 3 days. Luffy punches him out upon discovering the lie, and Helmeppo promises that the Marines will target Luffy once he tells his father what happened. Luffy isn't fazed and heads back to the Marine compound to talk with Zoro again. He manages to bargain with the swordsman that if he gets Zoro's swords back from the base for him, then Zoro will have to join his crew to get them back. Luffy slingshots himself high over the base, but accidentally breaks a newly finished statue of Morgan statue to slow himself down. Morgan orders his men to kill Luffy, but Luffy just grabs Helmeppo and heads into the base to locate the swords. Down below, Kobe sneaks in and tries to untie Zoro while telling him of Helmeppo's lie, but is shot in the shoulder by one of the Marines. Kobe and Zoro are soon cornered by Morgan and a firing squad. Luffy manages to locate the swords, but sees through the window that Zoro and Kobe are about to be killed. He shields them by bouncing the bullets back with his rubber body, as they have no effect on him. He frees Zoro and returns his swords to him. Zoro single-handedly blocks the Marines and then vows his services to Luffy on the condition that he can still continue to pursue his dream of becoming the world's greatest swordsman. Luffy agrees, and the two proceed to fight the Marines together. Luffy craftily helps Kobe ask for enlistment, and he's granted his wish. Luffy and Zoro head off to continue their adventure. They eventually find themselves in a rowboat, directionless and hungry. Luffy tries to catch a bird to eat. Zoro comes across some pirates in the water. They jump on his boat as he passes and try to hijack it, but some swift beatings convince them otherwise. They state that they're part of Buggy the Clown's crew and got stranded in the water after a girl tricked them and stole their boat, and a monsoon sunk the boat she was previously on, which they unwittingly boarded when they first came across her. Their crew is stationed at the nearby Orange Town, and Zoro heads there in the hopes of finding Luffy. In the town, the bird flies overhead and Buggy's crew shoots it down, which frees Luffy from its mouth. He lands right in the middle of a chase between the girl described before and some pirates from Buggy's crew. The girl calls Luffy boss and runs off while the pirates attack Luffy, who easily beats them up. The girl introduces herself as Nami and suggests a team up, but when Luffy says he's a pirate, she tricks him into letting her tie him up before presenting him to Buggy, from whom she stole a map. Luffy is locked up in a cage and Nami is told to fire a cannon at Luffy, but she can't bring herself to do it and has to defend both Luffy and herself from Buggy's crew. Zoro finds Buggy's ship and saves them both. But when he tries to slice up Buggy, it proves ineffective, as Buggy ate the Chop Chop Devil Fruit and can survive being cut. Zoro is wounded, but manages to redirect the cannon to fire at Buggy and his crew, while Nami and Zoro escape, with the latter carrying Luffy's cage. They reach the middle of the town, and Nami offers the key for the cage's lock, but it's eaten by a nearby dog. As Luffy tries to get the dog to cough it up, the mayor of the town, Boodle, offers Zoro his house to rest in while he recovers. Buggy's first mate, Moji the Beast Tamer, along his pet lion Richie, come into the area looking for Luffy, Zoro, and Nami, and resultantly burn the local pet shop to the ground. Luffy confronts Moji and Richie and easily defeats them. Luffy fights against Buggy, and Nami sneaks away to grab Buggy's treasure while he's distracted. As they battle, Buggy mentions that he knows Shanks, as they were both on the same ship together when they were younger. Buggy actually hates him, as he claims that Shanks cost him some treasure in the water by accidentally causing him to swallow the Chop Chop fruit, which Buggy had stupidly put in his mouth to hide it from Shanks. Buggy manages to stab Luffy's straw hat, and Spots goes after Nami, but splitting his body parts all over the place proves to be his undoing. When he tries to reform his body, most of the pieces are tied up by Nami, allowing Luffy to send him flying away. Nami agrees to temporarily partner up with Luffy, but they are chased away by the townsfolk, and the three set sail for their next adventure. They spot an island and make landfall in hopes of finding something to eat, but find that it has some odd animals. A mysterious voice tries to drive them out, calling himself the Trial of the Island. He shoots at the group from the bushes until Luffy eventually catches him, revealing a man stuck in a treasure chest. He introduces himself as Gaimon and reveals that he was trying to scare the trio off, as there are treasure chests on a hill that he's been protecting for several years after being accidentally caught in his predicament and then marooned by a pirate crew. The chests are now empty, so Luffy offers to take Gaimon off the island so he can join his crew. While flattered by the offer, Gaimon respectfully declines, as he's made friends with the animals of the island. On the next island, a boy about Luffy's age runs through town, claiming pirates are attacking. The villagers don't believe him, and attack him when he runs through. The boy then meets up with three younger boys, who call him Usopp. They inform Usopp that they've spotted some boats with pirate sails headed toward the island. These boats, of course, turn out to be Luffy, Zoro, and Nami sailing in. The crew lands on the island, where they become friends with Usopp and his fake crew, the Usopp Pirates. Usopp is the son of Yasopp, one of the crew members of the Red Hair Pirates. Luffy and Usopp talk about Yasopp and Usopp's dreams of becoming a strong warrior. However, they overhear a couple of men planning to kill Usopp's friend, Kaya, and Usopp's attempts to warn the villagers, and Kaya fail, so Luffy, Zoro, and Nami agree to help him out. A fight ensues, in which Luffy is temporarily put to sleep, and Zoro faces off against the Black Cat Pirates elite, the Mayaoban brothers. Nami awakens Luffy to finally rejoin the fight, and eventually the attack on Syrup Village is averted. Luffy, Zoro, and Nami are given a ship called the Going Merry as a reward for their heroics, and Usopp accepts Luffy's invitation to join his crew, the Straw Hats. They create a Jolly Roger for their flag, and Luffy and Usopp find a cannon on their ship. It is suddenly attacked by a man called Johnny, a bounty-hunting friend of Zoro's, because he and his partner, Yosaku, who is suffering from scurvy, were resting on the rock that Luffy and Usopp shot a cannonball at. After Nami cures Yosaku, the crew discusses the need for a cook, and the bounty-hunting duo agrees to guide them to a famous ship restaurant nearby, the Bharati, as payment for helping them out. The group soon reaches the Bharati, but as they get there, a marine ship led by a lieutenant named Iron Fist Fullbody also arrives and calls for the Going Merry to be sunk. Luffy manages to bounce the cannonball back, only to accidentally redirect it into the Bharati, damaging part of the building. Luffy is later taken to the captain and head chef, Zeph, who demands compensation for the damage. Fullbody runs afoul of another person, Sanji the sous chef of the ship. After some arguing, Fullbody makes the mistake of wasting food in front of him, leading to Sanji beating him up in retaliation. The fight is stopped when Luffy and Zeph, who were also fighting, fall through the ceiling into the area. Zeph beats up Sanji and throws out Fullbody. Luffy works as a chore boy in the Bharati to pay off the damages he caused, forcing his crew to stay within the area. On one particular day, however, a huge ship sails up to the restaurant and a battle breaks out between Krieg's crew and the chefs. Luffy, Zoro, and Usopp go to get the Going Merry out of the way, only to find that Nami betrayed them and stole the ship after throwing Johnny and Yosaku overboard. Weeks later, Zeph encourages Sanji to join Luffy's crew. Then, Luffy, Sanji, and Yosaku take a boat and head off to go catch up with the others. They realize that Nami had taken the Going Merry in the midst of the battle with Krieg and sailed back to her hometown Kokoyashi village, which is ruled by a tyrannical fishman pirate called Sawtooth Arlong, whose crew she was a member of. On the island is Nami's adoptive sister, Nojiko. As matters get complicated for her, Nami has to play double games with Arlong on one side and Zoro, Usopp, and Johnny to show her allegiance to Arlong while attacking the other three, but really saving them. It is revealed that Arlong had killed the girl's adoptive mother for being unable to pay him some taxes, and Nami had made a deal with him to buy back Kokoyashi's freedom for 100 million berries, but she was never truly on his side. And so as the years passed, she would venture out and steal as much as she could, stockpiling it to someday pay off the sum. A fight between Luffy's crew and Arlong ensues, and Luffy brings down his Gum Gum axe move on him at the last second, slamming Arlong through several floors of the building and finally knocking him out. However, the building destabilizes and collapses with Luffy still inside. Everyone looks on, stunned, wondering who won, until Luffy rises from the rubble, yelling out the iconic line, "Nami, you're one of us now!" Nami tearfully agrees, and the villagers celebrate their liberation from Arlong, after which Nami and the Straw Hats leave Kokoyashi on the merry. Meanwhile, Buggy has been stranded on a deserted island without his chest, which he lost during his battle with Luffy. He manages to escape the deserted island he was launched onto, only to end up on another one and another one, this time with strange creatures on it. Gaemon appears, and the two end up fighting each other, but become friends. Buggy departs on another raft, but once again ends up in trouble. He's saved from the giant crab attacking him by a beautiful, mysterious woman. Finding out that she's also looking for Luffy, the two join forces. After collecting the rest of his body parts and being chased out of Orange Town, the rest of Buggy's crew has regrouped on another island. After holding a service for their captain, Moji and Kabaji duel for the position of new leader. The two are so evenly matched that the fight goes on into the night as the other Buggy pirates sleep. Richie has a dream where he's a sea captain fighting a monster, and knocks out Moji and Kabaji while sleepwalking. When the lion wakes up, he finds that he's been named captain of Richie's pirate crew. Unfortunately, the pirates, minus the out-cold Moji and Kabaji, are quickly captured by the island's natives, the Kumite tribe. Buggy and the mystery beauty spot Buggy's ship Big Top and find the unconscious Moji and Kabaji. Meanwhile, the Kumite tribe prepares to cook the Richie pirates and wonder what to do with Buggy's spare parts, which suddenly spring to life and begin to attack the natives. It's Buggy, now complete, his revived officers, and the mystery woman. The four easily beat the Kumite tribe and the Buggy pirates are restored. After defeating Arlong, the Straw Hats are enjoying a peaceful day sailing in the East Blue. The easygoing mood on the Going Merry ends when a piece of paper falls out of Nami's newspaper. It's a wanted poster of Luffy. After researching Luffy's victories over the East Blue's most notorious active pirates, Buggy the Clown, Don Krieg, and Arlong, the Marines have decided to give Luffy a bounty of 30 million berries, the highest in East Blue. On a small island somewhere, Mihawk stops by and shows the poster to an old rival, recounting the latter's story about a small boy in a village, and noting that he recently met this young man himself. Shanks is excited to see that Luffy's on his way. Luffy is challenged by Alvida, who has transformed herself into a beautiful woman with super smooth, impenetrable skin, thanks to her having eaten the Slip Slip fruit. Now she wants Luffy to be her man, but he'll have to defeat someone else first, and the cloaked figures reveal themselves to be Buggy and his crew. Kabaji leaps out of nowhere and puts Luffy in a stockade on top of the execution platform. Meanwhile, Moji and Richie are on their way to burn the Straw Hats' ship. Buggy declares that Luffy's going to have an execution grand style. As Buggy prepares to chop off Luffy's head, the Straw Hat pirate makes one bold statement: "I will become the Pirate King." But as the blade closes down on his neck, Luffy just gives a huge grin and says to his friends, "Sorry, but I'm dead." Just then, out of nowhere, the platform is struck by lightning. Another dying man smiled on that platform 22 years ago. Gold Roger, the Marine captain, Smoker, then realizes that, with the storm, not only have his men returned to the base for dry gunpowder, but the wind is blowing in such a way that the Straw Hats will be able to escape faster. It seems like the fates themselves are helping their voyage, but Smoker swears not to let Luffy escape. A mysterious cloaked figure enters Logue Town, commenting that being a pirate is not a bad idea. It later helps Luffy escape from Smoker. Approaching a lighthouse through the storm, the Straw Hats repledge their dreams in a makeshift launching ceremony. Sanji's going to find the All Blue, Luffy's going to become the Pirate King, Zoro's going to become the world's strongest swordsman, Nami's going to make a map of the world, and Usopp is going to become a warrior of the sea. The Straw Hats head towards the Grand Line. On the way to Reverse Mountain, their trip takes an unexpected detour when they rescue a girl, Apis, who is fleeing the Marines who want her Devil Fruit ability to talk to animals because she has a dragon called the Sennin Ryu for a friend, and its bones are the MacGuffin the villains are after. The Straw Hats then make efforts to return the Sennin Ryu to his home, make Apis happy, and stay out of Eric the Whirlwind's way. That brings us to the end of Saga 1. Let me know what your favorite arc in this saga is, and if you want me to recap Saga 2 as well. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more recaps of the coolest anime series.